Okay, so once you've transferred your tracing of your color wheel onto your watercolor paper, you can see that it's not completely solid, so you can go over the lines and darken them, or you can just leave it and then go around it with Sharpie when you clean up the edges after you add your paint. So what we're going to start by doing is we're going to label each of the wedges with their appropriate colors. So and I'd probably start, here's the center line. I'll start to the left of the center line. And this wedge will be labeled as yellow. So I'm going to write it in my best handwriting above the wedge. So I'm not going to write it inside here because it could get covered or smudged. And we're going to go around the color wheel. So yellow is a primary color. And that's what we're going to base our entire color wheel off of. So we're going to have the primary colors, and they are on around the color wheel, but then the colors in between them are what the primary color and the secondary color make together. So next to yellow will be yellow, orange, because right next to yellow is orange, or up one space away from yellow. I'm going to turn this around as I go. So if yellow and orange make yellow-orange in the middle, this is what's called your tertiary color. So this is your primary color, this is your secondary color, and what happens in between is the tertiary color. And we will label all of these so you know. Next up would be orange or red-orange. And then our other primary color, which is red. And then next is red-violet. And our secondary color, violet. And then blue-violet. And our primary color, blue. Blue-green. And our secondary color, green. And then we have, finally, yellow-green. Now, primary colors are what you make other colors out of. So we base our color schemes off of the primary colors. And these primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, together, so blue and yellow make green, and yellow and red make orange, and red and blue make violet. So they're all relative on the color wheel, okay? And then those colors in between, so you've got the secondary color and the primary color, those make the tertiary color, which is a combination of those two. That would be yellow-green. So basically we're just mixing colors, except for we do not mix and cannot mix primary colors. So you cannot make yellow, you cannot make red, and you cannot make blue. You can make a red-yellow, and you can make a yellow-orange, a yellow-green, you can make a blue-violet or a blue-green, but you cannot make true yellow, true blue, or true red. So this is labeling. Now underneath here, on your slideshow, you should have a list of the color schemes that you're going to label underneath here. So the first one that you're going to label is primary. And you'll just do 2 dots like that. Secondary, we did talk about these. Tertiary. Complementary. Which we didn't talk about, and I will. Warm. and cool. So this is what your whole color wheel layout should look like before you start painting. So the primary colors again are yellow, blue, and red. All you're gonna do here, and you can make boxes if you want to, that's up to you, but you're gonna do little paint dots with those colors. So it doesn't matter what order. I'll just do pure red, pure blue, and pure yellow. Although my yellow has a little green in it, so hopefully you can't see that. Okay? And you'll do that for all of these. So your secondary colors will be green, violet, and orange. Your tertiary colors will be red violet, red orange, yellow green, and blue violet. Your complementary colors, now we didn't talk about those, but complementary colors are the colors that are opposite of the color wheel. So orange is here, the opposite of orange is blue. Green is here, the opposite of green is red. So I would stick to maybe secondary or primary colors to do complementary colors, but what you could do is you could do a little box with a slash mark. So that would indicate that these two are complementary. Okay? And then warm and cool colors. So warm colors would be, generally speaking, any colors on kind of this side of the color wheel. So yellows, oranges, reds, red violet is probably borderline. And then the cool colors are anything on this side of the color wheel. So violet, blue green, or yellow green. Those would be the warmer cool colors. And you can pick whatever 2 or 3 of those. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we are going to begin painting our color wheel. So I would start with the primary colors. And again, those are these colors here. So red, find it on the color wheel, and I'm going to paint it inside here. I'm going to do my best to stay in the lines. I would love it if you guys could outline these in Sharpie when you're done. So I want my color, my pigment, to be dark. I don't want this to look pink. If I add more water, it's going to lighten my red, which makes it look pink. If I add a little tiny bit of water and more pigment, so I'm getting a lot of that, it's kind of sticky almost. See how dark I'm getting my red? Because I'm not using very much water. So that's how I get the real true red color. And that'll be something you'll need to keep in mind as we continue using color and watercolors in this unit. So I added a little more water and see how it's lightening up. I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to get some more red, add some more dark red to my color wheel here. So since I already have red on my paintbrush, I'm going to move over to red violet. Actually, I'm not. I changed my mind. I'm going to start with just doing the primary colors, and then I'm going to go to the secondary colors, and then we will add the tertiary colors as we go. And tertiary colors will be mixing the primary colors and the secondary colors. Okay? So I will talk to you about that next. I was kind of getting ahead of myself there. So I'm going to go to straight blue. Again, I want to make sure I'm not using as much water, and I'm really, see how I'm getting my brush really in there, getting that color, being mindful not to ruin my brush and squish it, but I'm really getting that pigment on my brush. See how much blue is on there? Okay, so I'm finding my blue section, and I'm going to go for it. So you guys only have red, blue, and yellow. You do not have all of these other colors. So I'm going to show you how to make the secondary colors with what you have. And that is what you'll be doing. And I will be doing that as well. I'm not going to use the yellow that's already there or the green or the violet. I'm going to make it myself. There's my blue. Okay. Want to rinse my brush really well because the next one's yellow. And yellow, obviously, this yellow has a little green in it, so I'm going to try and get that out. So I'm going to go to the yellow and get going in there. Again, the more pigment, the darker and truer the color. We don't really want to do light yellow right now. We want to get this yellow really nice and solid looking. Okay. Okay, so you've got the primary colors here. Now you're going to go on to the secondary colors. Secondary colors are the color that the primary colors make when mixed together, okay? When we mix red and yellow together, we get orange. Orange is in between those two. So what I will do is I'm going to get my little tray. I'm going to get some yellow and put it here. I'm going to keep dabbing and adding yellow till I get a good amount. I'm going to rinse my brush, and then I'm going to get some red. And I'm going to mix my red into my yellow, and look, I have orange. Okay? So, and if it looks a little red, see mine looks a little red-orange, so I'm going to rinse my brush again and get a little more yellow. And then there we go, that's more of a true orange, because red-orange is next to it. And that's when I add a little extra red to my orange. And sometimes making the colors doesn't make as much, so you may have to remake it. But I would recommend making more than you think you'll need because it's a little harder to recreate the exact shade sometimes. So I have plenty of orange here. Still using it. So then I'm going to go to violet. And notice you're going to keep this color here. So violet is red and blue mixed together. So I'm going to get some blue, I put it in a different cup or little tray section here. I'm going to get some red. And again, if there's too little red, then it will be blue-violet. And if there's too much red, see, that's kind of a red-violet, then it will be a blue-violet, and we don't want that. We want it to be just violet, which is probably the pure purple color. Okay, this one's probably close enough. Again, you can always play around with it if it doesn't look like it to you. Get that filled in. There's my violet. And then the last secondary color we're going to work with is green. So yellow and blue, if you guys remember the Ziploc commercials, yellow and blue makes green. That might be a little older than your time, but I remember those commercials. Okay, I got a little bit of a smudge here, so I can fix that. So I'm going to get some more yellow. Get a drop of water in there. Yellow over here. Okay, rinse it off. Blue makes green, and you want a true green. You do not want a yellow green, and you do not want a blue green. Blue green makes like a turquoise color. That's probably pretty good here. I need a little more yellow, just a bit. It's tricky sometimes to try and get the exact shade. But basically, if you put blue really overpowers yellow, So you may put a little bit less of blue than the green if you think that it's looking more like a blue, like a turquoisey color, blue-green color. This is close enough, I think. Here. Okay, so I've got my primary and my secondary colors. So then your next step is to take the 3 colors that you made and add either red to it. So I'm going to make a red-orange, so I'm going to add a little more red to this. Maybe a little yellow. Oops, I almost didn't rinse my brush. That was not good. So a red-orange. So it's more, see, it's a combination of the two. It's definitely not true red, and it's definitely not true orange, okay? But you can see there's a nice mix of the two in there. Okay? So there's that. And then you can probably still use the same one here and add a whole bunch more yellow, like a bunch. And you're going to make a yellow-orange. See, right now I added some yellow and it made it back to orange. I'm going to add even more. Make a yellow-orange. Okay, that's probably good. So there, now I have a yellow-orange color in between the two. And a good test is if you don't see a good difference between the colors next to it, then you need to add or take away one of the either orange or yellow. So that's pretty good there. Then you are going to do red violet, which you already have the violet here, so we'll add a little more red. Should make a nice red violet here. Yep. Again, if it looks too much like red, add a little more violet to it, which means you would add a little more blue. Okay. Then next we make blue violet, so I'm going to add a whole bunch of blue to this red violet that we had. Get it back to regular violet, and then I'm going to add a little more blue. And then I think I've made a nice blue violet here. There we go. Perfect. You can see that blue kind of showing through here. We've got 2 more spaces left, the tertiary colors. And once you know how to do this, you can blend any colors. You can really. Now we're going to do blue-green. So I've got the green here. I'm going to add some more blue to it. And again, you might get to a point where you're like, oops, that looks like regular green, but actually mine went straight to blue-green because I added a bunch of blue. There we go, we've got a blue-green. Oops, see, I did the wrong thing. I'm going to show you. This is actually good. I will show you how to fix a watercolor mistake. If you add a bunch of water to it, generally you can get most of the pigment out. And blot it with a paper towel, and then you can fix it right up. That was my mistake. So I blotted most of the pigment away. I should be able to make a yellow-green still. All right, blue-green. Blue-green is here. Kind of want to have a little more pigment than that. So darken it up a little. There we go. And of course these are watercolors, so they're not going to be as like dark right off the bat as your acrylic colors, paints might be. But you get the idea of how to mix them. Okay, let's see if I can get my yellow green. I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to have to make this again because the blue will not work. So I can't reuse this like I did before. So yellow and a tiny bit of blue, just a tiny bit. So it's mostly yellow-green. Okay, and see, I can go right over my mistake. It's a little harder sometimes when it's really dark color, but this worked out okay. I might have a little shadow, but that's all right. If you catch it right away, you can cover it with water and okay. So now you have your color wheel, and you will go down here and you'll fill in with little boxes, or if you just want to do circles, or you don't even have to draw them, you can just like paint the circle if you want to do secondary color. That's orange. You'll just do that, okay? And there is how you paint in your color wheel.